Hey, welcome back. My name is Nick, and in this video, I'm reviewing the new Donner BackBeat, which launched today at NAMM 2024. It's got 900 plus drum sounds, mesh drum heads, a big kick pad, and the most unique selling point, interactive LED drum pads. It's the only electronic drum set I've ever seen with built-in lighting. The BackBeat supposedly has VST quality drum kit sounds, which we'll definitely be putting to the test. If the built-in sounds impress, the BackBeat might be a serious contender to Roland, Alesis, and Yamaha. So Donner was kind enough to send out this kit to me. And this box is insanely heavy, so you probably are gonna need two people. I was a little stubborn and decided we're just gonna push it down the stairs. Carefully, of course. So I've tried a lot of Donner's electronic drum sets, and for the most part, they've kind of underwhelmed me. So I'm hoping that at a little bit of a higher price point, we're gonna see something that is comparable with the major brands. So let's start off with the kick pad module box. They got this really packed tight. So first off, this kick tower is massive. Easily will accommodate double bass pedals. And the material is kind of a mixture between almost like a foam and then a mesh material on top of it. Dude, okay, this thing looks like an iPad. We've got a full LED screen. It feels new, it feels modern, I love this. And you can see we're using a pin connector here, so there's only one thing we need to plug in, which is super nice. And on the back here, we've got a left output, a right output. We've got MIDI out, no MIDI in, SD card slot, USB-C port, power button, and 12-volt power. I'm liking what I see. And let's check out the included kick pedal. Most of the time, as you guys know, kick pedals that are included with electronic drum sets are usually pretty bad. So there's a Yamaha pedal, it's about $79, highly recommend. With the all-in-one electronic kits, there are just a couple things you do want to upgrade. With this kick pedal, I'm fairly confident that this is not gonna be something you're gonna wanna use long term, but we're gonna give it a shot anyway. And being that this is a mesh drum head here, I'm gonna go ahead and flip this around to the plastic side. Using felt on mesh heads usually results in damage. Keep that in mind. And I've had a lot of comments on the Alesis Nitro Max video talking about, oh, why are you using the felt side of the kick drum pedal? That pad is rubber, so using felt on rubber isn't gonna do anything. The only thing it might do is wear away the felt. It's not gonna wear away the rubber. Honestly, the kick drum pedal feels very good. Like just right out of the box. I can tell you right now, I'm not gonna wanna be using this as my main pedal, but for a beginner, it'll work fine. Next, let's check out the hi-hat pedal. Now, if I were to go and grab my other pedals here that I've gotten from similar e-kits, they're basically the exact same design. It's really hard to tell that much of a difference on these, and it feels pretty normal. These do the job in a pinch, and for a more affordable electronic drum set, they work fine. I grabbed this one. This is an Avatar. It's almost identical. There's a couple different design changes, but overall, they feel pretty much the same. All right, we've got our first 8-inch tom pad. These are dual zone tom pads, and every tom pad is dual zone, so that is pretty cool. And I would say that this is a very high quality drum pad, and you can see even they've got a black finish right on here that looks great. Feels high quality, it's heavy. It's a good sign that it's made decently. And on here, we have two inputs on here. One is for the audio signal and the other is for the LED. That'll be interesting to set up. I'm curious about how that's gonna go. Another 8-inch tom. All right, same design, but we've got 10 inches now. And again, the pad feels very heavy, feels like it's gonna have some good response. And we've got tension rods here. I forgot to mention that on those. So we can adjust the tension of the head if we want something to feel a little bit tighter, a little looser. The snare drum and the floor tom are 10 inches. So I think they can be interchanged because there's not a designation, at least on the boxes, that there's any difference. So I don't think it matters which one you put where. One more 10-inch pad, cool. All right, these are very, very basic. I'm pretty sure this is gonna be for the hi-hat. So you get a little rubber section for playing, and it's got a little design indentation in it, which looks very cool. And then this side is just a plastic piece where you're not gonna hit. So the 12-inch cymbal is a lot different because we have a full rubber surface across the entire thing. We've got the same indent design, Looks great. It's probably gonna play great, I hope. Final cymbal, we've got another 12-inch pad. These are the ride and crash cymbal pads. Power, sticks, cable ties, and a drum key and some random hardware. Upgrade the sticks. These sticks that they send are very light, they're not matched, they're pretty poor quality, so get some decent sticks. And if you're a new drummer, Vic Firth 5As, can't go wrong. Accessory box 2, what do we have? We've got the tom mounts. These are very similar to every beginner to intermediate electronic drum set available. Dude, we've got lots of clamps. It's a good sign. They're made from plastic, but they feel like a higher quality plastic than a lot of other kits I've seen. The final accessories we get, cables. We'll be connecting those to all the different pads very, very shortly. If there's a kit you want to see reviewed, be sure to leave a comment down below and I will see if I can get my hands on one. Let's open up the drum rack. Bro, they have input jacks on the rack? Okay, Donner, you see what you're doing. I see what you're doing here and I love it. Okay, this rack looks very interesting. If you look on the sides here, we've got inputs, signal, LED, for both these. So Tom 3, Tom 4, crash 2. You come over here, signal, LED, snare, hi-hat, pedal, kick, crash, Tom 1. They got inputs all over this thing. This is gonna change everything. I love the fact that the rack is like almost assembled completely. Anybody that gets this kit is gonna have such an easier time setting it up than any of those stupid plastic clamp systems where you have to put the whole thing together. Here we've got cymbal arms. And by the way that they have this designed and like packaged for shipping is incredible. Like, I think Donner is really, really trying to step up their game and compete with the top dogs when it comes to musical instruments. And I'm shocked to be saying that. I think that some of their stuff is great for beginners. The level of quality here is pretty high. We've got stickers that are labeled with bright red that tell you exactly where this needs to go. It's almost like we don't even have to look at the manual, and we probably won't. Finally, we've got one more cymbal stand. So hopefully, when I start putting this together, we can do this very fast. This is amazing too. So on the top of the rack, there are little knobs that you can twist. And when we loosen them, we can now adjust the rack as we want. Amazing, this entire rack system is so innovative. And if you loosen that top piece, it allows you to adjust both the left part of the rack and the snare pull. So if you're getting a little confused, on this far side, we have the C leg. This one here, we have the C leg, and that one just went down. This is a D leg, and over here, we have a B leg. Let's get our kick pad and bust out the clamps. All these clamps look to be the same. Let me try. I'm gonna try setting up the snare drum first. I lost the manual. It's in the boxes over there, so kind of just gonna be YOLOing it here. One thing to say too is, like, before I even have this kit set up, the rack feels really big compared to some other kits I've just looked at, like the Alesis Nitro Max. So that's a promising sign that this is gonna feel like a larger drum set. Basically, the idea with these clamps is they're not already on the rack. We've seen this on the Alesis Nitro Max where the kit ships with these clamps already on there. But these are cool because they don't need to be fitted around the pipe in one whole piece. We have this opening here and we can clamp it on like this and tighten down. So makes it a lot easier for taking the hardware itself off the rack if you ever need to move it. For example, if you wanted just one rack tom here and you wanted to put two toms down here instead of two up, one down, you could have one up and then two over here on the right. So that's pretty cool, as long as it fits, provided. Also, I should mention, I haven't tightened any of these yet, and I probably should before I get too carried away. All this takes is a regular drum key. We put the legs on, and then we just need to tighten down on these spots here with the key. So if we're putting the cymbal on the stand, you can see the Donner logo here. We're gonna put that away from us and it will fit into the cymbal threads perfectly. Again, we're gonna put the logo away from us. And for the hi-hat, I'm gonna make a slight adjustment. I'm gonna angle this kind of towards me, and then I'm gonna push the arm itself down lower, and then I'm gonna adjust this angle and bring it up a slight bit. Same thing, make sure the logo is facing away from you. Something that's interesting, the top of the cymbals, very, very loud compared to hitting the edge. So if you are practicing in an apartment or somewhere where you can't make a lot of noise, highly recommend you're gonna wanna play on the edges. And for the pads themselves, you're gonna wanna play in the center. Question now becomes, are these cables labeled? They're labeled signal/LED. I'm gonna start trying to figure out how to set this up. I hope I have luck. The light and the audio signal cables are loomed together. Starting off with the snare, let's plug in the LED and the signal. There we go, that's pretty cool. And we have these right angle type connectors, I like that. Plugging into the snare, okay, there it is. It's so clean. Look at this one little cable from right here to right here. This drum set is next level when it comes to appearance and cleanliness. I can already see I'm having this trouble with these right angle connectors. I initially thought they were cool, but they definitely crowd up a little bit. It still works good though. This kit looks sick. Not only are these shells illuminated, but the heads themselves have little lights around them. They like go on and off when you hit them. It's a really good indication of what you're doing. I'm looking at this LED screen and I'm loving what I'm seeing right now. First thoughts, the kick drum feels amazing, and even with the stock pedal, like I feel like I can do like some cool bass drum stuff. The BackBeat has a 10-inch kick tower, a 10-inch 3-zone snare drum pad, 2 8-inch dual-zone rack tom pads, 1 10-inch dual-zone floor tom pad, a 10-inch dual-zone hi-hat, and a crash and a ride, which are both 12 inches, and they're both dual-zone cymbals, and they also have a choke feature. All the pads have individual LED lights, as you can see in front of me. The rack features an internal wiring system, making the kit appear far cleaner than most at this price point. Although, as you can see in front of me, these cables are kind of going all over the place, and unfortunately, one of the cables that I got for this floor tom seemed to be dead, so I had to swap it out to one of the extras that came included. And over on the drum module, we've got a 7-inch touchscreen. It has tons of functionality for its price point. We've got sounds from 100 different drum kits, and each pad has individual settings for compression, EQ, reverb. The library on the BackBeat has more than 999 sounds, which according to Donner, they're all multi-velocity samples that produce richer drum sounds. So far, my weak points, I feel like with the sounds, are going to be the toms and the cymbals. The cymbals are pretty harsh. The snare drums are pretty good on some of the kits, and the kick drums overall just sound great. The module has 50 factory presets and 50 user kits that you can customize. And it also supports USB MIDI and multi-channel audio. The drum module can easily connect to your laptop, your desktop computer, and it acts as a 10-channel audio interface that's easy to use with any recording software. For me, it's Cubase, but whatever you use, Ableton, Logic, you name it. Donner also developed the BackBeat app, which comes with song exercises that sync right to the LEDs of each drum pad. And on these LEDs, you can see them on the shells here, but they're also on the mesh heads. And you can see when I play that they turn off and turn on very quickly, giving you an indication of which drum you are playing. And since these exercises match to each drum you're playing, it makes it very, very easy for a beginner to play the kit. Let's take a look at the module. This thing is impressive. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of some of the sounds, but really they're not bad for this price point. Now, when you boot the unit up, you'll be greeted by this kit. And we can see there's a big knob here, and we can use this to go through all the different kits. And there's a ton of kits built into the module. Again, there's 50 user kits, so you can modify any of these and save them as your own. So on the left here, this is our main volume. So if you want to change your headphone volume, you're going to do it here. I didn't find any sort of like headphone knob that controls that volume. So it seems like the headphone volume and the master out are shared. Now, if you use an aux cable and you want to play along to some music, there is an input meter here, so you can adjust the level of that easily. And you can also use these arrows to cycle through the kits, and you know, they load pretty quick. So if I were to just do kicks, you can see that they load very quickly. And if you want to change the levels of any of your kits, you can see this little arrow here. We can slide up and boom. Now we've got a mixer that shows us all the levels of the different instruments. So if you wanted less snare drum, we can bring the snare drum down and back up. And we want to be done, we can slide back down, and there we go. Sometimes on these kits, they have a lot of room sound. And it can be a little distracting, so if you want to turn that off, you can just click that button there. Much better. And you can change the LED here from global to drum kit, so different drum kits have different presets. As we switch through some of these, they'll change colors. Pretty cool. And this little icon here is indicating Bluetooth. Now, I don't have Bluetooth connected, but it does have Bluetooth functionality, which is really, really cool. On the side here, we have different tabs we can pick. We have drum kit, we have effects, we have practice, we have record, we have editor, and we have system. So a lot of settings you can choose, effects, you can dive into here and really, really, really customize the sound. But the most impressive thing about this module that I found, and it is the practice function. If we choose Groove Library, let's go to Rock, and we go to Rock 1. Now, on the screen, we have a visual representation of what this beat looks like. I really, really had to turn that down so you can see it for now. But if we want to play this groove, it sounds like this. Pretty simple, right? So what the practice function does is if we hit start, it's going to count us off. And it's going to give us a visual indication of where we are in the groove. And then it's going to give us a score based on how well we do. So we could hit stop here real quick. Let me just try playing along with this and seeing how it goes. 2, 3, 4. It's a great practice tool, and I think this is the best thing about this module. I've never seen a module right out of the box that has this level of a practice tool built right into it. Let's check out rudiments real quick. So if we wanted to learn a 5-stroke roll, let's load this up. So we can see the sticking patterns for the right hand lead, left hand lead, everything. So let's audition and see what this sounds like. And the kit lights up when you're supposed to play. Very impressive. Let's go on my own. 3, 4. What makes this tricky is you get the count in, but then you don't have a click track. So it's up to you to internalize the beat and really feel what you're playing and subdivide. So this is a really great learning tool, and for all beginners, this is probably the best drum module on the market for learning rhythm and basic grooves on the kit. The record function is pretty straightforward, so if we wanted to record right onto the SD card or the flash memory, well, first you'd have to insert an SD card if you wanted to use that, but we can just go onto the flash memory, hit the record button, and simple as that, and you can enable a metronome if you want. But then we hit the save button, and boom, we can save it right here. And the editor, if you want to go in and change sensitivity, all that kind of stuff, crosstalk, the different types of curves, how things trigger, you can go in here and play with settings. But I recommend kind of leaving it as is. I did change some of the cymbal sensitivities. I turned those up a little bit. So be aware of that, so you can make those adjustments. And finally, in system, we can go in here and we can adjust the name of the Bluetooth receiver. We can change the default light that's on the kit. If we want it to be different colors, we can adjust that here. So for example, if you want to be yellow, you can do that yellow snare. You know, you can change up all kinds of stuff. And there are some MIDI settings, so you can adjust that if you need to change the MIDI channel. It's more advanced stuff if you're working in a production environment with, you know, music software. And just a couple other things, screen brightness, auto shutdown, and that's about it. The drum module is very, very impressive. There's a bunch of different drum kits on here. And yeah, overall, they're pretty good sounding kits. The toms just, they seem like they don't have enough attack. And I think initially part of that is when I booted this up, the room sound is on always. And the room ambience really just drowns the kit out. And on certain kits, it's higher or lower, so you'll have to play with the presets to get an understanding of it. But some of them is just too much. You can see on a preset like that, it's just so overpowering. And you may have to mess with the mix of that, depending on how much reverb you want. Now, if we are to affect the lighting here, when we go into settings here on the right, we can pick drum light. And from here we can change colors. So snare drum, you want the snare drum to be red? There you go. And that's going to be on a strobe effect, so anytime you hit the drum, it's going to strobe. But if we do pulse, this means that the lights are going to be kind of almost off. And then when we play, I actually like that effect a lot more. And I don't know if there's a way to change the colors globally. It might be the case you have to go in here and adjust all of these separately. But I'm curious of some of these other effects. We have gradient, and that's pretty cool. I don't know what it just did. Response. So this one's similar, except for the kit's off. There's no lights until you play. I can see this one being pretty cool if you had the lights down. Ambiance. With this mode, nothing's gonna light up. It's just gonna be the kit is turned on, but it's not gonna respond to anything that you play. So there you go, the lighting's dope, the kit is awesome, the rack, it's so solid. Like, I know it looks like I'm shaking it right now, but this is one of the best designed racks I've seen on an entry-ish, you know, to intermediate type of electronic drum set. Really, really great design. And this is so great how you can loosen up and make adjustments right here without having to grab a drum key or anything. That's awesome. You can probably store the kit very easily just by undoing these, kind of folding things around. You might have to undo a couple of these cables, but overall the rack is incredible. And while it's got its quirks, having the cables plugged directly into the rack here is insanely genius. I was blown away. You saw it during the unboxing. I think switching to straight input connectors rather than having these right angles would probably be a lot better, though these will last longer. And the lights look incredible. Really, really cool how they integrate with the Practice app. I love that. The LED screen on the module looks great. Awesome. The controls work nice and easy. It's a touch screen, and for $1,200, I think it's a solid value. Again, when it comes to electronic drum sets, I'm always harsh on the sounds that are included with the drum module. And I think that these are pretty good, but I think they could be a little bit better still. But for beginners, there's not a better entry-ish level drum set that teaches you how to play, where you can see the grooves you're playing, the notation, you can hear it, you can watch where you are in the groove with the little bar line. It's just great technology, and I'm glad that Donner is taken the initiative here, because now other companies are gonna have to make killer drum modules with a color display, maybe even lights on the kit, although I will say that the lighting may be a little bit overkill, but it does look cool. Things that this kit could improve: I would rather have a stand-mounted hi-hat, but I know at this price point, it's probably not gonna be a thing you see too often. These cymbals could be a little bit bigger, and the sensitivity on them was a little strange out of the box. I did have to adjust the sensitivity settings to get them to work properly. And one other thing to note, this drum set does not come with a throne. So you don't even get one of the cheaply made kind. You're gonna have to go out and get your own. As far as the kick pedal, I got insanely frustrated right away, despite me saying that. I was like, oh, you know, it might be pretty good. It kept falling off of the kick pad here. Like, it kept coming off of it. Yeah, I switched to my DW5000 and I'm not gonna look back. That kick pedal is garbage. Get yourself a new kick pedal. Look at the Yamaha one. I'll have it linked down below. And there you guys go. This is the newest kit from Donner. I wanna know what you guys think about it. And if you wanna check it out, be sure to check the links down in the description. And if you're curious about other electronic drum sets, be sure to check out this video right here. And thank you guys, as always, for watching. I will see you all in the next video.